Alright, today for math, we are moving on to temperature and thermometers, and you're learning how to read thermometers. We are just going to be doing Fahrenheit today. And then tomorrow, we're actually going to be doing the paper that's like the test already, okay? So, because that last test about the clocks was a little bit late. Alright, so let's do the time measurements. We're going to do all the measurements because you need to know them all, and some of you did not know these on the last test, so we're going to keep doing them until you learn them. Alright, so starting with the time measurements, I'm going to stand on this side. Hopefully people can all see. 1/4 hour equals 15 minutes. 1/2 hour equals 30 minutes. 1 hour equals 60 minutes. 1 day equals 24 hours. 1 week equals 7 days. 1 month equals 28 to 31 days. 1 year equals 12 months. 1 year equals about 52 weeks. 1 year equals 365 days. 1 leap year equals 366 days. All eyes should be on these charts. They're not written on your hands, so look up here. Now, I will give you a tally for disobeying me. Okay, the next measurements we learned were about weight. You only have one that you need to remember, and that is 1 pound equals 16 ounces. Again, abbreviation for pound is LB. The abbreviation for ounces is OZ. Those are not as easy to remember because they are different. All right, then we learned measurements of capacity. That has to do with the amount a container can hold. So we learned 1 pint equals 2 cups. 1 quart equals 2 pints. 1 gallon equals 4 quarts. Or the fun way to say it is 2 cups in a pint, 2 pints in a quart, 4 quarts in a gallon. Alright, then we moved on to measurements of length, that's what they call it. It also can be used to measure height or distance for long distances. And the one we learned for the first day was there are 12 inches equals 1 foot. 36 inches equals 1 yard, and 3 feet equals 1 yard. Because 12 times 3 would be 36, right? And we learned there are 3 rulers. Please look over here. I don't know what you're doing. Okay? 3 times 12 is 36. That's where the 36 inches in a yard comes from. Then we learned a longer distance, and that would be 1 mile equals 5,280 feet, or 1 mile equals 1,760 yards. All right, today we're going to talk about thermometers. And we're going to talk about Fahrenheit thermometers. This would be a thermometer. Most of the time when you see a thermometer, the numbers are going to be going by what? Tens, right? And in between, you can see that this one is counting by? No.
Tens.
These little lines are counting by what? Ones. The big long line in the middle will be 5. But I'm talking about every one of those individual lines, that's counting ones. Sometimes you have to watch out, because sometimes when you see a thermometer, the lines in the middle are not counting by ones, but they might be counting by 2s. So you have to be careful. But for these, and I believe the ones on your paper, they're all counting by 1s in between. Now, we would not use this side, because you notice this side says C. That's something we're going to learn later in the year. That would be Celsius, okay? So we are going to learn some metric measures. Celsius is from the metric system, and our country doesn't use it, but there are a lot of countries that do use it. But we're going to be learning Fahrenheit, because that is what we use here in the United States. Of that, we're going to learn 3 temperatures. Now, when we get to Celsius, we're going to learn them in Celsius also, but they would be equal. The freezing point of water, even though we say 2 different numbers, the freezing point of water for Fahrenheit and Celsius is the same exact temperature.
32 degrees.
No, that's not what you can't say that. It's the same exact temperature, but you say different numbers. For Fahrenheit, it is 32 degrees. For Celsius, you're going to say 0 degrees when we get to it. But it's equal. 32 degrees Fahrenheit is equal to 0 degrees Celsius. Does that make sense? Because this was two different scientists that made this up. So these two different scientists that made it up chose different numbers. So the one that made the Celsius decided that 0 was going to be freezing, and that anything higher would be warmer, and anything lower than that would be colder. But the person who made up this scale, their freezing point is 32 degrees. But isn't water going to freeze at the same temperature?
Yes.
Okay, but you just have to remember they're different. Fahrenheit, it's 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and Celsius is going to be 0. But we're not going to learn this one right now. We're just going to learn 32 degrees Fahrenheit is when it freezes. So when the temperature is 32 degrees outside, you know that you could set a glass of water out there and it would start to what?
Freeze.
Freeze. Very good. The next one we're going to learn is the boiling point of water, and for Fahrenheit, it is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. And you can see on here that for Celsius, it's 100. So boiling for Celsius is going to be 100. That one's going to be easy to remember. The 212, that's the one you need to know now, because that's Fahrenheit. And then the other one is your normal body temperature. So normal body temperature is 98.6. That little dot, you say at point. So 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. And when we get to Celsius, it's 37 degrees Celsius. But in the Fahrenheit, 37 is very chilly, right? It's not freezing, but it's very chilly. So you can't compare them the same way. You have to know that 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit is equal to 37 degrees Celsius. All right. Now, let's look at some situations on this chart. All right, so we're just going to look at the Fahrenheit temperature. The Fahrenheit temperature says 95 degrees. I need your attention up here. The Fahrenheit temperature says 95 degrees. Look at the situation that's going on, and what do you think? Is 95 cold or hot? Hot. 95 would be very hot. In fact, it would be one of those days that as soon as you walk outside, you would start to sweat because it's just that hot. Think about it. Your body temperature is 98.6. 95 is almost the temperature of your body heat. Okay? Isn't it? It's only 3 degrees away. All right, the next situation they have is here, and they're showing you 77 degrees. So would that be hot, warm, cool, cold?
Warm.
That would be warm. Because guess what? When it gets 77 in here, you guys are saying, I'm getting hot. So it would still be quite warm. Not as warm as 95. 95 is really hot. But 77, when you start running around outside, you're going to be sweating. Okay? Because it's still pretty warm. Because you guys don't like it when it gets 77 in here. In fact, I would not let it get 77. I would be dying. Alright? Then they have 59 degrees. 59 degrees, it's starting to get cool. You can see he has on a jacket now. Okay? He has on a jacket. By the way, it's a he because they changed the look. It used to be Horatio and a boy. Can't remember what his name was. I'm so used to Haley now. But I don't know. It doesn't matter what his name was. It started with an H, just like Horatio starts with H. But it's still Horatio, but now we have Haley, the girl. But my charts are from the old book. That's why it's a boy in the picture and Horatio. The last one, the temperature is 32 degrees, and you know that is? Freezing. And there, he's all bundled up and in front of the fire because it is freezing. You can actually see snow around it. All right, so I want us to look first at the first thermometer on your paper. What you need to learn to do is look to see where the red comes. And if it comes right at a number, then that's easy. So that first thermometer, where does the red come? 60. You can see it goes to the 60. So on that line, you just write 60. They already have that little circle that means degrees. If they ever don't put it, you need to put it. But usually, I think they put it on these. But you need to watch for that. And they already have the F, which means Fahrenheit. Now, look at the second one. This time, is it right on a number? No. So what do you need? No, please don't yell out the answer. Jonathan, do you realize I need to teach it? Look at me, please. I need to teach it. I cannot teach it if you just automatically blur out the answer. There are people that don't know what to do, and I need to teach them what to do, okay? So let me do the teaching and stop blurting out the answer. If you look at the red, like you're supposed to be doing, you see that it comes in between two numbers. What are those two numbers?
50 and 40.
Well, let's say the first number first. That would be 40 and 50. And if you look, it comes at that big long middle line. So that big long middle line would be counting by 5. So this one is 45. If you do not remember that that is 5, then you could just count those little lines by ones and say 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, and get your answer that way. Again, they already have the degree symbol and the F for Fahrenheit. All right, for the next one, we're going to look at a picture. The picture is somebody sledding down a snowy hill. So what temperature would that be?
26
Yes,
degrees.
it has to be something that's below 32 because 32 is freezing, and this has to be a freezing situation. I need you to take off your sweatshirt. You are daydreaming on me, you're falling asleep, something. Come on, take your sweatshirt off, let's go. I don't have time for this. A very cold situation. Anything less than 32 is going to be cold. 32 is freezing. Okay, just drop it. Just drop it and get busy circling the right answer. Anything less than 32. Thank you. The next situation is somebody tubing down a river. Are you going to tube down the river when it's cold?
No.
No. So you need to pick a warm temperature. So that would be 85 degrees. That is a very warm temperature. That was when you would want to go tubing. All right, at the bottom, they want us to do the temperatures we learned. So for normal body temperature, what did we learn?
98.6.
Yes, and if you don't know that, you can just look at the thermometer. It tells you right there on the thermometer that normal body temperature is 98.6. What if you take your temperature and it's 101?
You have a
You have a fever. Yes, you have a fever. That means you're sick. All right, go to the next one. In the next one, it says the freezing point of water.
32 Fahrenheit.
32 degrees Fahrenheit. Say the word degrees, because that's what that little circle means. That little circle means degrees. 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And what about making water boil? Boiling point of water?
212 degrees Fahrenheit.
Very good. 212 degrees Fahrenheit. And go ahead and turn your paper over. All right, on the back, look at the first thermometer. What are the two numbers that comes in between?
50 and 60.
50 and 60. And does it come to that middle line?
Yes.
So that means that one is?
55.
55. Very good. All right, the next one comes between
30 and 40.
30 and 40. So you need to count by ones, and you say 31, 32,
33.
So you know that one is 33. All right, the next one is between 80 and 90. And you know what? Even without counting it off, you can see that it's almost to 90. And since you only have the two choices, which one does it have to be?
88.
Yeah, since it's almost to 90, it has to be the 88, not the 83. If it was the 83, it'd be closer to the 80, wouldn't it?
Yes.
All right, the next one is in between the 10 and the 20. It has to be the 19, doesn't it? Because it's almost to the 20.
It's not even possible.
All right, let's look at the situations. Okay, there's a boy. He's got on a jacket. Looks like a lightweight jacket.
55 degrees Fahrenheit.
Very good. Let's wait until I ask though. It would be cool. He needed a jacket to rake the leaves, and that would be fall. 55 is a typical fall temperature. All right, the next situation is a little child playing in a sandbox with just short sleeves on. What do you think?
80 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, very good. 80 degrees. Don't need a jacket. It's warm. And the last one, you see someone's ice skating.
25 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah. And it actually should have been 25 degrees Fahrenheit for quite a while for that ice to be thick enough to ice skate on. Alright, at the bottom, you are going to talk about the distance from third base to home plate. Would you measure the distance from third base to home plate in inches, feet, or miles?
Feet.
Feet. Can you imagine having to run 90 miles? From home plate to first base? That would be sort of silly. What about a baseball bat?
40 inches.
Yes, 40 inches. The other day they gave us a choice of feet and we picked 3 feet. But 40 inches. There are bats that are longer than 3 feet or longer than a yard. And then we have a base itself. It's the base itself.
15 inches.
Very good, 15 inches. Alright, the other paper is going to be done for homework. And it is a review of that. And it is also, it also has something reviewing on the back. And since she already put it in the folder, I can't